Good morning, cadets. Let's understand the poem A Thing of Beauty and Better Manner. This is the poem which is written by John Keats. A romantic poet, John Keats, writes about the beautiful things in nature and how this beautiful thing in nature becomes something which we never forget. It can never pass into nothingness. Its beauty will keep on increasing and it will remain in our memory forever. So let's understand the notes on this particular poem, A Thing of Beauty. A Thing of Beauty is a poem written by the famous romantic poet John Keats. So it is written by John Keats, who was a romantic poet. What does it mean, romantic poet? Romance means love. But here romance, it's a love of nature. It's not love for any other human being, but here it's being referred to nature. So romance for nature, and those poets who have written about nature, their beauties, their mesmerizing effect. So those poets are called romantic poets. So romanticism was a movement in late 19th century. The famous poets of romantic period are William Wordsworth, John Keats, Byron, Shelley. All these are romantic poets. So this poem is written by John Keats, who was a romantic poet. The poem tells about how nature and its wonder mesmerize us and take away all the sorrow that surrounds us from time to time. How the nature mesmerizes us and it will take away all the sorrow that we have got. So this world is full of bad elements. And lot of sorrow is there, lot of grief is there. Our life is very tragic. How can we forget all that? How can we think only about good times or beautiful things? Go to the nature, remain in the lap of the nature, forget about all those sorrows. And then you'll spend life full of happiness and health. This poem is an excerpt from Keats' poem Endymion. The poem is based on a classical Greek myth of the love of the moon goddess Cynthia for a young shepherd prince Endymion. So that is the background as far as this poem is concerned. His poem makes use of allegory. So it is referring to this particular story, allegory, with similar kind of comparison is a to signify the quest of the human soul for ideal beauty. So there is a quest of the soul for ideal beauty. So what is allegory? Allegory is a demonstrative form of representation explaining meaning other than the words that are spoken. So allegory communicates its message by means of symbolic figures, actions or symbolic representation. So Endymion stands for the poet as a man, Cynthia for ideal beauty. So Endymion is a man, whereas Cynthia is a ideal beauty. The moon for the manifestations of the beauty in nature. Well, straightway we'll go to the theme, which is very important here. So what is the theme of this poem? The theme of the poem rests in the opening line of the poem. And what is the opening line of the poem? A thing of beauty is a joy forever. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. A beautiful object is treasured in our mind. A beautiful object will remain ever etched in our mind, and that will provide us eternal and everlasting joy. It will remain forever. Where? In our mind, and it will provide us eternal and everlasting joy. That's why a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Very key line, the first line. And it's a very, very popular line, often quoted. So, what does it mean? A beautiful thing is eternal joy. A beautiful thing is everlasting joy. So, this happiness never fades into nothingness. This happiness will forever remain. But with period of time, what will happen? It will keep on increasing. It will never pass into nothingness. It's a loveliness increases. So it's a loveliness, it's a beauty will keep on increasing. It will never fade into nothingness. So it multiplies manifold whenever it flashes in our mind, whenever it comes to our mind. So let's go to the poem, notes on the poem. So Keats describes the thing of beauty as an emanating joy forever. It's a beauty only increases. That's why it's a loveliness increases. Loveliness means what? Beauty. So it's a beauty will keep on increasing and it will never cease. He says it will never pass into nothingness. It will never pass into nothingness means what? It will never cease. It will never stop. The benefits proffered by a thing of beauty are listed as giving sound rest with good dreams and well-being. So once you are mesmerized by that beautiful thing, what will happen? You will have sound sleep and you will have rest, good rest, and your sleep will be full of dreams. And as a result of that, you will have very good health. The earth minus the beautiful things, it is despondent. So without these beautiful things, how is the world? Very despondent, very dreary, very dark place. People are very bad who have got very bad intentions, spiteful place. So full of those people who are malevolent, thriving in callous, unconcerned, insensitive dirt. So people lack noble natures. They are harsh towards other human beings. Every day human beings face gloomy days, packed with unhealthy spite and darkness. However, in spite of all, a thing of beauty helps to remove the dark cloud that burdens our souls. Hence, the poet says that we human beings each day create an ornate band. So, what are we doing every day? We are reading. What are we doing? We are reading. A flowery band to bind us to the earth. We want to have a kind of bond with the earth. So what are we doing? We are weaving the garlands. So that's why reading a flowery band. So every day we are creating an ornate band made of all those lovely things. This band keeps us bound to the despondent earth. So that's why we remain here on this earth, as we would otherwise be hopeless. Our condition would be like that. And then in the closing stanzas of this poem, he tells us some of the beautiful things on earth. So what are those beautiful things on the earth? So beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. So a lot of beautiful things are there on the earth. So everyone can highlight something beautiful in anything. So you can find a lot of beautiful things. So what are those? He goes on giving those examples. The sun, the moon, trees, flowers, streams, musk rose which are blooming. So blooming musk rose. Architectural sculptures, even fairy tales or heroic legends. So all these are beautiful things. And when you read those stories, when you hear those stories, heroic stories, of those heroes, legends of those heroes, then we forget about the grief that we have on this earth. The simple sheep are, even if you look at the simple sheep, that also will show the beauty of nature. So here the poet is sympathizing with the innocence of human beings here when he's talking about sheep. So kids sees the beauty in innocent humans seeking solace in nature. So those people who want to seek comfort in nature, there you can find beautiful things. Mother Nature in its own way spouts a shady abode of relief. So she's giving us a kind of boon in the form of shade and probably gives consoles us, provides us comfort. The expression lily of the valley is quite well known and rouses images of a delicate lone white flower holding up its head amidst a setting of thorns and and everything contrary in nature to delicateness. So too are the daffodils mentioned in this poem. The poet also sees beauty in the death of martyrs and legends. So when we hear about their heroism, those heroes, the mighty dead, are those martyrs who have laid down their lives, who have died bravely for a cause. So when we hear their stories, we really see the beauty in those stories. We honor them by erecting magnificent grand sculptures in which beauty is seen. If one looks around, there are innumerable beautiful things to notice. They seem to flow immortally as a fountain from the gods above to help the pitiable human beings to cope with the harshness of life. So there are so many innumerable beautiful things that are coming from heaven. From heavenly above they are coming. And they are flowing like a fountain. So there are a lot of things created by God. All those beautiful things. And when you go, remain in the lap of the nature, you forget about the harshness, you forget about the sorrow that we face in this life. So let's understand. Let's have an understanding of the text. We have seen the gist of it now. A beautiful thing is a source of eternal joy. That's why the poet says, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. A beautiful thing is a source of eternal joy. Its attractiveness grows with the passage of time. So its loveliness increases. So it's a beauty or it's a loveliness or its attractiveness, it's a charm keeps on increasing with passage of time. It will never pass into nothingness. Its impact never fades away. It always remains in our memory. It is as pleasant as a cool, quiet bower, and as a result of that, we will have sound sleep with sweet dreams, robust health, and mental peace. So we'll have mental peace, we'll have very good health, and we'll have sleep with sweet dreams. It provides the beholder with a heaven of tranquility and solace. So it comforts them, and he will have everlasting happiness, tranquility. It is the beauty of nature that keeps us attached to this earth. Every morning we collect fresh, lovely flowers and prepare garlands. The fascination for flowers is our bonding with the earth. It helps us steer clear of despondency and disappointments. We forget all our despair of our acute shortage of noble souls. So here there's a dearth of noble nature. So noble souls, they are all lacking. Lot of despair is there. People have very bad intentions of misfortunes that overtake us to taste our forbearance. Life is full of trials and tribulations, and we often find ourselves in the midst of gloom. It is at such a depressing moments that a sight full of beauty dispels the pall of sadness, the covering of sadness from our spirits, making room for hope and optimism. The objects of beauty are countless. So there are so many objects of beauty. So go to the lap of nature, you'll come across so many things, and so many things are coming from heaven forever. So these include heavenly bodies like the sun, the moon, the old and young trees that provide cool shelter to sleep, the daffodil flowers encased in green leaves, the streams that flow through a shady passage, which they make themselves with plants, and the bushes that bear fragrant flowers. So there are so many things. Like he goes on giving so many examples. But so here, such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon, simple sheep. So here, in a sense, that is what is highlighted. So daffodils in that green world they remain there. Then there are streams, rills, and they are providing us a cooling covering, making our life very cool there. Then we come across there, rich with a sprinkling of fair muskrose, which are blooming there. So many beautiful things are there in nature. So go and remain in the lap of the nature. That is the appeal of the poet. So these objects in nature, there are wonderful tales, wonderful stories of our legendary heroes who lived and died heroically, which inspire. And when you go through their stories, so stories of legends, they inspire us with a matchless beauty. So these beautiful things are metaphorically an endless source of nectar. So this is an endless source. It's a fountain that is pouring unto us from heaven, and that is bringing eternal joy for the soul's grandeur. So they are like an elixir of life. They'll make us to lead our life with full of happiness, a never diminishing source of pleasure and delight. So they are an endless fountain of joy that seems to be precious gift from heaven, and this is a precious gift from heaven. So beautiful. So just let's look at this. Remember here, a beautiful thing is a source of eternal joy. Very important. Okay. So its attractiveness grows with the passage of time. Then let's just have a look. Whatever we are seeing, you have to remember that this poem is written by John Keats. This poem is about nature, how the nature mesmerizes us and takes away all sorrows, all griefs that we have. And then let's come to the theme. We are just looking at important things which you should remember. Then the theme of the poem. What is the theme of the poem? The theme of the poem is that any beautiful thing or all beautiful things provide us eternal and everlasting joy. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. It will provide us eternal and lasting joy. Its loveliness increases. So it's here, it's happiness that will never fade into nothingness, but it will keep on multiplying. It will keep on increasing with passage of time. So here Keats is describing a thing of beauty which is an eternal joy. So it's a beauty, keeps on increasing, and it will never cease. It will never stop, but it will keep on increasing. So there are lot of things which are spiteful, despondent on this earth, dearth of noble natures. And if you want to forget about all that, then what you should do, look at the beautiful things in the nature. And we human beings, every day we are wreathing a flowery band. We are creating an ornate band which are made of all lovely things, which are all made of all beautiful things, and that is creating kind of attachment with all the beautiful things of nature. So it is creating attachment with the nature. So here he talks about beautiful things. So what are those beautiful things? Sun, moon, trees, flowers, streams, muskrose, blooms. So remember all that. And not only that, even fairy tales or heroic legends, they are all beautiful things. And those beautiful things, when you look at them, you'll forget your sorrows. So they are all coming from where? They are all coming from heaven. And there's a flow from the fountain, and which is always there flowing here to cope with the harshness of life, to cope with all those bad things in life, to cope with sorrows of life. And then when you go there, you will have a beautiful sleep, full of sweet dreams, you'll have very good health, and it's all result of beautiful things. That's why a thing of beauty is a joy forever. It's an eternal joy. Beautiful things are eternal joys, and its loveliness will keep on increasing. It will never pass into nothingness. It will never fade. Thank you. Goodbye.